The Queens of Spice podcast is created for adult audiences only. Our show contains cursing, vulgar content, dark humor, descriptions of sexual acts and desires, and is not suitable for listeners under the age of 18. Some episodes also contain themes which may be triggering for listeners. Please take care of yourself. Welcome to the Queens of Spice podcast. My name is Rachel Raggy. I'm your host tonight. Thanks for joining me, my two BFFs here, Ash and Jack.
Hi.
Hi.
How's it going, guys?
Good. How's it going with you?
You know, I'm doing fabulous. Thank you. Because
I'm sure she
today we are traversing into the Tingleverse, and we are reading trans wizard Harriet Porber and the bad boy Parasaurolophus by Chuck Tingle. And I'm just so pleased because this book is something.
She's pleased with herself.
This is a book. It was published in June 2022. Chuck Tingle, of course, notoriously posting a new book every month, probably for the last number of years. So they're all very short novellas. Like this one's like 150 pages. But buckle up, because this is a wild ride, okay?
Yep.
Am I supposed to know who Chuck Tingle is?
So, hard to say. Chuck Tingle does have like a cult following. He has been nominated for a couple Hugo Awards.
What are Hugo Awards?
They are science fiction awards, I believe, for a variety of subjects.
Would you say that he is an author that Neil deGrasse Tyson would enjoy or not?
I think anyone can enjoy Chuck Tingle.
Are you sure?
Yes. I think there's something there for everybody. He's also a fierce defender of AO3, Ash, by the by, because AO3 had been shortlisted for a story on AO3 had been shortlisted for a Hugo Award in science fiction fantasy in whatever category it was, and there was a lot of kickback about that
Because it was a fan fiction?
because it's a fan fiction site, but there is a fan writer category for the Hugo Awards, so of course like that includes fan fiction, obviously. But people look down at AO3 so bad. Anyway, but Chuck went to bat for AO3 on this one, so...
Thanks, Chuck.
There you go. Chuck's a good guy.
Yeah, he's totally listening.
You never know. Okay, so this book, however...
Rachel hopes.
I do on occasion. Trans wizard Harriet Porber is a master spellsmith who's found herself in a bit of a pickle. After finishing wizard college, Harriet made a name for herself by creating a hit viral spell, but has since failed to craft a follow-up. Now, Harriet's agent, Minerva, is breathing down her neck, suggesting that Harriet take a trip to an island off the coast of England for inspiration. Hoping for some peace and quiet to clear her head, Harriet arrives to find that her new neighbor, an angsty bard named Snabe from the band 7 Inch Nails, is already there making a racket. This Parasaurolophus spellcaster is a bad boy through and through. And with his incredible powers of metamagic, Snabe reveals that this layer of reality is much more than it seems. Could Harriet and Snabe really be characters in a parody romance novel? Soon enough, these two are discovering that they have more similarities than differences. They're both trans, both strong, both hoping to create a new spell that will change the world. But with the addition of two devious sentient motorcycles to the mix, Bellatrix and Braco,
Braco.
things start to get complicated. Now, trans wizard Harriet Porber is caught up in a tale of magic and mystery where nothing is as it seems, except for one universal truth. Love is real. So welcome, Jack.
Oh my goodness.
Yep.
I mean, that really sums it up. That really sums up.
Does it?
Well, it's been fun, everyone. Bye.
Join us next time when we do.
So I'm not going to say that I picked this book to torture Ashton, but
That's just a bonus.
I think it was a good side effect of having picked this book. I knew, like, because Chuck Tingle's a big name in like parody romance, like gay parody romance especially. And so I was like, well, we got to read at least one Chuck Tingle book, and I feel very strongly in the parody that this one is for, which is obviously against J.K. Rowling.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I think we were all really into Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Like hard. So it is very much like finding out that she's a raging turf and basically a steaming pile of dog shit of a human being. It is nice to read somebody poignantly being like, yo,
Bitch, you suck.
Bitch,
Yeah.
you suck. I just wish it was better.
That's a fair assessment, I would say. Chuck Tingle is a self-published author, obviously.
Obvious.
I say that obviously because like the dude turns out like a book every month. He has like over 300 listings on Amazon or something.
I need to know, and you and I have had this conversation so many times. Is it bad on purpose?
Is it ironically bad?
Yeah,
like
like-
I think it is.
I just, if it were better written,
Okay.
I would be so much more into the concept.
Do you know what I will say about this is that I looked through a couple of the books. There is no editor listed on any of these books.
Listen, I've read lots of books that don't have editors, and they are not like this.
This book was probably not peer reviewed either.
Yeah, but
Like the guy turns out a book like all the time. He probably wrote this in an afternoon.
literally, Snabe and me. That's not proper grammar.
Do you know what? I should have told you about this too. So there's
Snabe and me, what?
It's
oh
not
well, it's proper grammar.
Sometimes it is.
So on the opposite page of the first time you read that, it says Snabe and I. And literally like 2 paragraphs later it says Snabe and me.
Exactly. Exactly. I can't.
It depends on the sentence, though.
It does in this case.
No,
and
in
he
this
followed
case
up and did
it's
a couple.
wrong.
Yeah, like he intentionally did it right one time and then did it wrong for the rest of the book.
Oh, well, that's just amazing.
Yeah.
What a troll. I love
Right?
him.
Right? I honestly think this entire book is a big troll, which it kind of is because it's a parody.
Okay. Saying the word troll, that makes sense, but that does not make me like it more.
You don't have
It
to.
should, I think.
Okay, so let's get into
Seeing
this.
as I'm a giant troll, yes, you would think that it would, but however, it does not.
I just don't know that this particular brand of comedy meshes with you per se. Because it is like it's not great. Fair. Like objectively it's not a good book.
When I was reading it, my son was like, "Oh, good, Rachel's making you read a real book for once." And I was like,
He meant a physical book.
"Yeah,
Yeah.
He
not,
meant a
not
physical
like real book. But that is kind of hilarious. So like the summary really does a good job in summarizing this whole thing.
the summary did what the summary was meant to do."
Surprise. But so Harriet is, kind of in a bit of a lull. Can't really doesn't have any super creative stuff going on to make a new spell for the spell company that she's working for, which is called Morgan Phoenix Spellcrafting. Her agent Minerva. Offers up her cottage that is outside of England, like it's on one of the islands. It's called
Yeah, the names of the islands are weird. Not everything else about the book, just the names of the islands.
It's called Tingler Islands. Specifically, she's on Portork Island off the coast of England.
Poor Torque.
Portork.
Oh my god, is that like Portkey?
I mean,
Probably.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, this is the thing. Every single name or big thing that happens in this book at all, it's obviously several letters away from a Harry Potter reference.
several, not several. One, one letter away. Minerva.
Snabe!
Snabe, Severus, Snape,
Minerva! Or what is it?
Minerva.
Bumbleborn. Bumbleborn in this case.
Is it Bumbleborn?
Bumbleborn. Yeah, that's his name. Sorry, we'll get to that later.
Harriet
Porber.
Porber.
Oh,
Barber.
there's no Ron in this one.
Jesus Christ.
So she goes off to this island, and on her way over on the ferry, she meets the 2 sentient motorcycles who give her a shit time.
Who also drive a fucking car. Motorcycles that drive a fucking car.
She even has this exchange with one of the people that works on the ferry, and he's like, "Get out of the way! Like, why are you motorcycles? Why are you even driving a car? Like, it's a thing." Like they calls
So
out.
many
This
of-
is the thing. The book is like 1,000% self-aware. Like they like Chuck calls out every single thing that happens in this book. Right. So she just gets off the ferry. She meets Bellatrix and Braco, the 2 sentient motorcycles, who are BFFs with Snape, obviously, and they
Obviously, I did not. When I got into it, I was not like, I wonder if they're best friends with Snape. I was just like, what the fuck is happening? Rachel says it like it's super obvious. No, it was not obvious. It was not obvious at all.
She's an angry elf.
Did you just call me an elephant?
Elf.
Oh, elf.
Gobby just wants freedom.
Jesus.
Who does?
Gobby.
Oh my god.
So she makes it to this island. She gets settled into the cottage, and like the annoying neighbor is playing really loud drums, and so she goes down and complains. And there's Snabe opens the door, and she's
Not wearing
like-
a shirt.
Not wearing a shirt because he never wears a shirt because he's a bad boy. He's a bad boy, and that's who he plays. And he's written that way.
Parasaurolophus.
He's written that way, and that's how he has to be. And he always brings out these meta things that are happening. He's like, well, it's part of the plot. So like, I'm gonna be a bad boy and an asshole now, and I'm sorry, but that's just the way it is.
But you're gonna love me later.
But later, like I haven't come to my redemption arc yet. So because he's a meta mage, or sorry, a meta bard. Yeah, Jack. There's 3 types of magic users in this universe. There's bards, wizards, and warlocks, I believe. And warlocks, yeah. And Snape he's a bard. He uses meta magic. And I wrote the quote down. The more of an asshole I am in this part of the book, the better the payoff is when you change me later on.
Okay, but that's actually really accurate.
But he calls it out the first of the book.
I
Like,
know. And it's so
hilarious.
funny because it's one of those like, I just want to read something nice and fluffy. I'm like, no, I want to hurt. And so I want him to be a jackass. And then like,
Yeah.
you get that sweet, sweet, happily ever after.
Exactly.
But
Except
it
in
needs to
this-
make sense.
It does make sense.
It does not make
You just
sense.
don't like it.
Does not make sense.
Listen, I want you to take this moment in your head right
Do you
now.
want me to close my eyes
Nope.
and imagine?
That's
you don't
what
need
I'm
to.
doing.
Yeah, fair.
You want to imagine a Parasaurolophus licking its way up your body with its weird duck bill and
We
long,
haven't-
weird tongue? I don't know. What do they look like?
We haven't read the part yet. Don't spoil it for her.
That's a part?
And actually, so what I want you to remember,
Oh, God.
I want you to keep this in your brain hole. How you're feeling right now and how upset you are about this book.
I already know what you're going to say.
So the next time we record, I want you to remember how you're feeling, because we're going to be swapping places next time.
And I
Okay.
mean, to your defense, next time you're stuff that you're legit uncomfortable with, and this is just stuff that I'm just like, why the fuck?
Oh no, I think that the book we're reviewing next time is actual garbage. And
Yeah, I know.
I will cite my sources.
It's stuff you're uncomfortable with. I'm not uncomfortable with the content here. I just don't like it. It doesn't make me uncomfortable. I understand the purpose.
I'm excited for both. I don't even know
I'm
what's going on.
Thanks for being here, Jack. I appreciate it.
Jackal's like, I'm going to color my dinosaur now.
Yeah, that's right. I made you a dinosaur coloring sheet
Yeah.
with little hearts and stuff, and they're laying in bed. Anyway, it's not my best work, but there it is.
I find
His name is Stephen. Stephen. How do you do that?
Even.
Steven?
You know the thing.
He has an underbite. Yeah.
The dog with the.
It's Steven?
Stephen.
Steven?
Stephen.
Steven?
I'm so glad that you guys are harnessing the feeling of this book right now. Because that's how absurd it is.
Ridiculousness?
It's
Yeah.
just absurd. It's absurd. Welcome to the Tingleverse. It's absurd to be here. So she goes down and complains. She finds out that, this is the lead singer of her favorite band growing up or whatever. And
7
here he
Inch
is,
Nails.
7-inch nails. So obviously he looks like if Trent Reznor was a dinosaur, basically.
But not even like if Trent Reznor was a dinosaur. If Trent Reznor was a human-sized dinosaur. 'Cause,
Yeah,
like,
a humanoid dinosaur.
yeah, but like not like a tall dinosaur that's a human. Because I got into this weird headspace when they were like on their date, and I was like, is he like 5 feet taller than her?
Buddy, have you...
This is me, our entire podcast.
Have you ever read
No.
Is it Lola Frost? She writes
No.
Wet Hot Allosaur Summer. All those
No.
like
I already knew all about it, and I knew when you went into it, I was like, all right, well, this is the thing she's doing. I knew how it ended. I have no interest, and I don't even like
but
even
those are full-size dinosaurs.
I know, and even though like in the back of my head I'm like wanting to know
absurd.
how anatomically it could work. Nothing. No.
Absurd.
I don't need to. I
Definitely go read those though.
No.
They're like 20-minute reads,
no.
worth every minute.
Yeah. How Stego got her groove
How
back.
Stego guys grew back. Yeah, amazing.
Triceratops and bottoms.
Yep.
I
Yeah,
know all the names. Thank you, TikTok.
they're wonderful.
Well, I mean, there's something.
Okay. So complains to Snape. He's like, I'm not gonna turn my music down because I'm a bad boy. Fuck you, whatever. So she calls the sheriff. Sheriff comes in and says, so he's gonna keep it down for the rest of the
The
day.
sheriff, who is a fucking unicorn.
Oh yeah,
FYI.
he's a unicorn.
Unicorn. What's his name?
Steve. I don't know.
The sheriff. Oh, he's a handsome purple unicorn. I don't think they have his name. I think he's just sheriff. Sheriff unicorn.
Unicorn.
And then she goes back to. She's like, well, I'm gonna go get dinner. She goes to town, and she pulls up to the Captain Orion's Cove restaurant, and is served by
Sheriff Slumhorn.
Oh, like Slughorn. That took me a second.
Oh my god.
And also because he's a unicorn,
Gotcha.
you know? Sorry.
He actually says there's a throwaway line somewhere about like, I don't want to get my blood sucked again or something at some point in the book.
Oh yeah.
Because he's a unicorn. Anyway.
And Voldemort.
Yeah, he who shall not be named. So the waitress at this Captain Orion's Cove is Gobby. She's a lovely little lady. And I think her daughter was sick or something, and she ends up because Harriet's complaining about her asshole neighbor, and Gobby then tells Harriet about how Snabe like gave her a bunch of money or tipped her really well or something. Always treats her well.
Always tips her well.
Knowing that her daughter's sick and all this other stuff, and it's just like painting him in this like light that he's such a nice, lovely young man. And
her daughter
blah, blah.
Winko.
I don't think she doesn't. They don't say her daughter's name, but. Could be. And then she comes out and all of her tires on her car are like flat.
Yeah.
Then she has to get her car towed. And then obviously she's had a number of run-ins now with Bellatrix and Draco. So she's like, oh, it's probably one of them because they're fucking assholes. And they are. Admittedly, this book is a very shallow plot line. Surprise.
It was, even that was something that I recognized too. It was like, yes, this is a spoof on like a parody of Harry Potter and all that stuff, but it's also a total parody of romance novels in general. And
yes.
that like you can find those romance novels that have massive plot holes in them where you're like, what? That's not yeah.
And this is just, it's painted over with like the meta magic thing in this one where they're like,
yeah,
hey, we know we're in a romance novel and here's what's going on. Like the whole thing is
crazy.
crazy.
This is really bad.
Yeah, we all know we're all very aware of the subtext going on here.
Subtext. Fuck subtext.
So then, like, there's a bunch of back and forth, and they're building this story of like Harriet and Snape kind of getting together, and they're working on their magic. He's working on songs, she's working on spells, and like
I just assumed it was both spells. I know he's like, but his spells are written through magic, so it's like she working on a book is like her spell, like writing a book.
Her spell is a scroll. So the first scroll that she designed was called Bubbleless Morphus.
Yes.
It was a big hit spell that like it makes magic bubbles with scenes from the caster's life.
Yeah, but like, is it
it's
supposed to be an allegory for like a book or like, do you know what I mean? Like where 7 Inch Nails is a band and so his spells are an allegory for music.
Right, but he actually does make albums.
Yeah, with spells.
There's spells in it.
Yes.
But like he actually goes and performs like concerts and stuff too, so it is music you listen to in your car and it's normal.
Yeah, but it's magic music.
It makes magic things happen.
Yes, so
Yeah.
it's a spell.
I guess.
We're talking in circles
Well,
here.
but hers is like you go out and buy a scroll of the thing and then you cast the spell. And his is like, hey, you buy his album and listen to the music and a spell happens while you're listening to it.
Yeah, you experience shit.
Yeah, exactly. So like they're along the same vein, but they're different in a basic way.
Yeah, so basic.
I'm trying to take this seriously, Ashton.
Listen, that ship has fucking sailed and sunk. And people have fallen off. It was the fucking Titanic. There was an iceberg and everything.
I'm so pleased that you're upset by this. This is wonderful.
It takes a lot for me to get
I know
down
it does
about
too. You're
things.
so worked up. I love this. So
This is all over fucking grammar, too.
you get so mad with the grammar.
I do. You have
And
no
you
idea.
spiral so hard.
You have no idea how.
Which is funny because I'm always the one picking out all the typos and stuff. And I do, but like you'd glaze over the typos usually.
Well, because I listen to a lot of my books.
I guess.
But when something gets like grammatically weird, I can't do it. Or repetitive. Oh, when it gets repetitive. And this is so fucking repetitive.
It's so short though.
Which is funny because so is Harry Potter.
Yeah.
That's
it's
very
almost
accurate.
like Chuck Tingle wrote this book to reflect Harry Potter.
Almost.
Except he did.
Listen, but I like that part.
Fair.
I didn't say that was a bad part.
So back on track.
Because there's a track here.
There's a track here.
Motorcycle track.
So yeah, so like Bellatrix and Draco are like fucking with her. And then so eventually Harriet and Snape like kind of carve this little relationship out, and
They go on a
Bellatrix
date.
and Draco are like super upset about, or Bellatrix especially is super upset about, like jealous, obviously.
Why does she have a crush on Snape?
Oh, they're totally doing it already.
They're all doing it.
Yeah, they're all doing it. Because he's a bad boy, so you know he has to do it with sentient motorcycles.
Where does he? How does he?
You don't want to know or ask. It's weird.
In the tailpipes?
I assume it has something to do with the tailpipe.
Or maybe he rubs himself against them on the back.
Who knows? Who knows?
Tanglewood, I hope.
Oh, I assume
Tinglewood.
it's like Inglewood, but Tinglewood.
Oh God.
Also, if Chuck Tingle ever wants to start his own town, it has to be called Tinglewood.
I also would like to point out that you and I are not drinking, and Jacqueline is.
Okie dokie. So Harriet and Snape, they do it in the woods, which Jack's going to read about shortly.
Yes.
After they go
And-
on a date.
And well, no, they go on a date. Right. Oh, and sorry. After they were doing it in the woods, he gives her a flash drive of, you know what? Backtrack. You were right. This was after their date.
Yeah.
Because when they went on their date, he let her listen to his new song he was working on. She's like, "This is trash. Here's why." And then he started rewriting the song after they had their date. And then
Is it their first date or their second date that something happens to Bellatrix?
that was their first date.
Because of course.
Yeah. Their first date, like it turns out that she had
An accident.
Draco like hit her in the head with an
You don't
oar.
find that until later.
I know. I said that's why you find out.
Well, that was also okay. There was also a fight in the fucking Jolly Roger or whatever the hell it was.
Anyway, we're not talking about that. During their first date, Bellatrix ends up in the hospital, and Draco like comes and gets Snape in the middle of dinner, and has to like rushes to the hospital because she's got like this wicked concussion, and
Oh no.
it's a whole thing. And anyway, they make a bunch of shit up medically sounding for sentient motorcycles, obviously.
Something to do with the motor oil.
Yeah, and make sure that she's always topped up on motor oil.
Yep.
The radiator overheated.
Etc. And then so they go home, and they don't see each other for a while because he's got to nurse Bellatrix back to life, obviously.
Oh my god, I'm imagining a dinosaur with a little nurse's hat.
Oh, cute.
You should draw a nurse's hat on your dinosaur.
Okay.
Okay. But then so the next time they run into each other, Harriet is going for a walk up in the woods or whatever, and Snape like follows her, and then they end up like doing it in the forest. And then he gives her a flash drive that has his new song on it.
Mm-hmm.
And so she goes home and listens to it. She's like, "This is fucking amazing. I'm going to tell him all about it later." And then she gets like on writing her spell or whatever, working on her spell. And she like loses track of time, ever goes to bed. And then in the middle of the night, she like hears something in her house. She's like, "That's a weird sound. What the hell is that?" And then she goes out and looks, and there's nothing there. She's like, "Okay."
Basilisk.
It could be.
Is this the same thing as what did I say last time? Assist. We're just hollering out
Assist!
Harry Potter terms.
Hello, Amara.
When Guardian Leviosa.
So, come to find out that overnight, somebody leaks the song on the internet. And so, obviously, Snape, like, 100% goes after Harriet and was like, excuse me, why did you do this? You said this was great, and I can't believe you'd do something like that and break my trust. And she's like, I didn't do that shit. And he's like, I know, I just need to make a scene because I'm written that way.
Does he really say that? He says I'm written that way?
Yes.
He says I'm written that way so many times.
Yes.
Yeah,
But you'll like it because I'll get really a lot better later.
correct.
Oh.
Meta magic.
Meta magic. So
It's so meta.
it's so meta.
So tingly.
He actually has very short novels called Tinglers. They're just like short little one-offs, like 40-page books. So yeah, song gets leaked, and one thing leads to another. He tells Bellatrix to like leave, basically, because he wants a relationship with Harriet, and Harriet's like, "Well, I'm not gonna have a relationship with you if you have fucking motorbikes hanging around. That's gross and weird, and I don't want to do that." So
We can't do this if you have motorbikes around.
that's literally what she says. It's hilarious.
It has nothing to do with the fact that the motorbikes are assholes. It has everything to do with the fact that they're motorbikes.
Well, he doesn't want to. She doesn't want to share, and they are assholes. But he's an asshole too. But he's written that way.
So are they.
Yeah, but they're written that way permanently. They don't have redeeming. There's no redemption for them.
Who decides this?
Chuck Tingle. Okay, back on track. So it ends up that Harriet doesn't feel safe anymore in her space, and because they have like a bit of a fight, and she's like, "I'm the fuck out of here. I can't deal with this anymore." So she ends up on the mountain. On the mountain. She ends
Not
up
the Penis Mountain though.
That's next episode.
Was it Three Sisters? What's your favorite mountain?
Penis.
I don't know if you knew this, but in my Googling, I came across there's actually a mountain called Dick Mountain.
Is it in Dildo?
No, it's not in Dildo. It's in the States somewhere.
Well, that tracks.
Because I was like, illustration of a dick mountain. And because I wanted to try to get it accurate. And
Yes, because if they name it Dick Mountain, it's clearly going to look like a dick.
I was hoping
Did it?
somebody actually drew dicks that were a mountain, but they didn't. It was just Dick Mountain. And also, there's another Dick Mountain that was like just a natural phenomenon that looked like a dick. It wasn't really a mountain, though. It was more of a small hill.
Yeah, that's what most guys have issues with
An
anyway.
average dick mountain.
Subpar.
And people do not fantasize about those or put pictures of them on Google.
People don't fantasize about average dick mountains.
Oh, God. Okay. So Harriet ends up going over, like, on the other side of the island to a different cabin to live.
How did she
And
find it?
she was just, I think she just, like, looking online or something.
She Googled it.
Probably.
Googled
Like,
Dick Mountain.
called around, asked Gobby.
Called around.
Hey, Gobby, you know any dick mountains around here I can go to?
We gotta stop talking about dicks.
I'm trying to get away from Snabe and those fucking motorbikes.
So she... So Harriet ends up on Dick Mountain, which is up some switchbacks and stuff on the other side of the island. And eventually, like they kind of like resolve their differences, and Snabe has this like he does this big thing at the restaurant because she goes to the restaurant every couple of days or whatever, like regularly. And so they end up holding this like open mic night, but then the only person that comes to play is him, and he plays this song for Harriet. And
The other guys play after, though, don't they? The weird guys that were in the fight?
yeah, they end up doing like the house, like house music or whatever, instrumental stuff. And then they like, they get back together and they are all whatever. And
They
he
live on
moves
the mountain
he
together.
moves up to Dick Mountain with her. And one night when they're going down for dinner, they like
control of the car.
somebody had cut the brakes in the car.
What?
And so they're going down the switchbacks and they end up crashing. And so Harriet, is in like bad shape and they nurse her back to health. And then,
Officer Unicorn shows up.
well, so yeah, I mean, Officer Unicorn's in and out every so often. Sorry,
In and out.
the old in out.
In and out.
Sheriff,
Sheriff
Sheriff, handsome
Slubhorn.
unicorn. Yeah.
Sheriff Handsome Unicorn. Slubhorn.
So, Snabe in the meantime has launched his new song that he finished.
Yeah.
And so his group got back together and they're going on tour. And so while he's on tour, he wants someone to protect Harriet, given that like some bad shit has been going on. And like obviously it's Bellatrix trying to get back at them and stuff like this.
They assume because she was forced off the island.
Correct. Because Snape eventually was like, get out.
Draco is still around.
Yeah, so
Because
Draco...
She's trying to get off the chocolate milk.
God, everything... Okay, everyone in this drinks chocolate milk instead of coffee or alcohol.
Yes.
I knew you would like that. So
love
chocolate milk is the go-to. So when everyone's like, oh, I'm slamming back some chocolate milk. And it's like, it's actually chocolate milk. It's very
And-
funny.
And
I think it's a Tingleverse thing.
Snape is trying to get off the chocolate milk.
Snape is off the chocolate
And
milk.
he's
He's
trying to
clean.
help get Draco off the Draco off the chocolate milk.
Yeah, so Draco is trying to recover as well. And so she stayed on the island in like a recovery kind of program. So Snape
How big is this island that has a chocolate milk recovery program?
I mean, he probably just set her up somewhere and like as long as you're off the chocolate milk, it's fine. But Bellatrix was like booted off the island basically.
Yeah. Get in your
Survivor style.
Survival style. Yeah, they
get in your
voted her
yellow
off.
fucking Camaro thing. You get lost.
The
Did what's
obnoxious
his
yellow
face
car.
like put out her torch?
Yes.
Sure.
Gonzo. So
Pissed in her gas tank.
But wouldn't that keep her stuck on the mountain?
No, she drives a fucking car.
She drives a car.
It's
Jack, don't
Like,
think
that
about it
makes
too hard.
sense.
Don't think about it too hard. It's yeah.
This is why I don't like it, because I do think about it.
Yeah,
too
this is
hard.
the thing. It's like as soon as you're like, this sentient motorcycles get in their car and drive away, and you're like, what is going on? None of this makes sense. It's not supposed to. It's an absurd book.
Yeah, that's the craziest thing that's ever happened.
Yeah, right. So, Snabe invites Bumbleborn, who's a woolly mammoth, he knows him from like college, university, or something.
Wasn't he like his? Like,
He was his bodyguard back when he was in 7 Inch Nails.
The mammoth was the
Yeah,
bodyguard?
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, he was Snape's bodyguard, and so he leaves Bumbleborn with Harriet while he's going off on his first concert, which is in Dublin.
and she's like checking out his wand bulge in his pocket, and he's like, "I'm gay."
And he's straight up, I'm like, I'm gay, and I'm not gonna take 7 books to tell you that, and then hope you like, and then you guess at the end.
Yeah, it was like it's not something.
was
It's
like-
not subtext.
Yeah, it was 100% a call out. Obviously, it was very funny.
Well, I mean, there was also, I will admit to liking the call out where he was like, "This is by no means a health." When you're first introduced to Snape, and he's like, "This is by no means a healthy relationship," and a person who acts like this should not be a teacher at a school either.
Oh yeah, the call outs are real. It's so fun. I didn't have time to tab them all, but I have a couple like
It's
fourth wall
like
breaks
it's
of
like
that.
Chuck Tingle was like, "Dear J.K. Rowling,
Yeah,
this is everything you fucked up."
it's very funny.
I mean, yeah, I just wish it was better written.
Grammatically correct.
Look, yes.
It's okay. You'll have your say. Don't worry. So Bumbleborn, they like go for a walk one day because Harriet was like recovering from this car accident. And she's feeling better. She wants to go for a walk. So they go for a walk, and they get down the switchbacks shortly after where they had crashed the car, and it's written like in oil, like motor oil on the road, like you're going to pay or something like that. Like just, a threatening message.
How
In
does a motor?
the tongue?
What?
Look in the tongue.
How does a motorbike write in oil? Is that like peeing? Did it like pee out that message?
Ooh,
You are
yeah.
asking the wrong questions.
I
Am
like
I?
that.
Am I asking the wrong questions? Because that seems like the right
that's
question.
a great question.
I would say, actually, in the spirit of the Tingleverse, that's a great question. I would assume that she would, like leak oil or, motor oil, so you leak it out of an orifice, which would be like peeing. Yeah, that makes sense.
That would be really difficult. Have you ever tried to write anything while you're peeing?
I can't say I have, but I don't know what kind of equipment she's working with.
Do we even know if it's she?
I mean,
Yeah.
she's had her whole life to practice.
It's true. Yeah.
Maybe she had stencils.
Maybe she had help. So speaking of which,
Speaking of help,
so because Harry gets freaked out by this, obviously, and she calls Snape and she's like, I'm coming to the tour. I can't be left alone. Like, Bumbleborn's going to come with me.
right.
And so he's like, oh, well,
Take my boat.
well, so Braco's going to come, and she knows how to drive my boat because he's got a yacht, obviously, boat thing. And she's like, okay, well, I'll go get a ride with her in the boat, like driving over to Dublin.
But first she's like, why?
Of course, as
As
rightly
one,
so.
yeah,
Yeah.
because one would want to know why, which is what I want to know for the most of this book. Why?
Why what?
Why not?
Why is Draco still there? Why is Draco coming to the?
Braco.
Why is Break? Oh yeah. Why is
Braco a woman?
yes?
Okay.
Why is Braco coming? Why is she still here? Why is she driving your boat? Why is she this?
Yeah, so that's when you find out about the recovery program, and
Yeah.
then it's just convenient plot device that she knows how to drive the boat. So
and
she,
he points that out too.
yeah, of course. So Bumbleborn and Harriet go down to the boat on the pier, and Braco's there and is like, admittedly acting kind of sketchy.
Yeah. Because she's a sentient motorcycle and she's got shit to hide.
So they get in the boat, they start driving, whatever, and then of course, like they're halfway between the UK and Ireland, and like all of a sudden Bellatrix comes out of nowhere because she's
Shocking!
shocking, and so she's like, "This is here's the the final act sort of deal," and there's like a fight, and like she almost kills Bumbleborn,
Well, you think she did?
and then you find out.
Don't tell me what I thought.
So if you recall, she was working on a spell, and her new spell was going to be a metamagic type spell where you cast it, and
you
then
get the thing you need.
you need shows up. And so she'd been testing this, and it comes in the last act, where previously she had like whiffed an oar into the ocean, because this is when she kind of pieces together that Bellatrix had
Smashed herself in the face.
Had smashed herself in the face with an oar in order to break up their first date or whatever.
To hurt herself.
And so she whiffed the oar into the ocean, away it went. And so she's like in this final battle with Bellatrix, and she like reaches back, and in the ocean here's this oar, and she picks the oar up and smashes her in the face with it and like beats her basically.
I have another complaint.
What do you got?
Why is she always without her wand? Like, every time you turn around, she doesn't have her wand. What kind of wizard doesn't carry their wand?
Forgetful Lucy.
I mean, it's a plot device he took from Harry Potter.
Does Harry Potter always lose his wand?
There's always situations in Harry Potter where they conveniently don't have their wands.
Oh, I don't remember that. Admittedly, I only remember the things I want to remember about Harry Potter.
Yeah, fair.
And Harry Potter ended up not being my favorite character because, he sucks. So, now Draco, on the other hand, meow.
I think you like Draco only because of the fan fiction, though.
No, I like Draco because he has a character that is morally gray in both fan fiction and in the story itself. You get that more in the novels than you do in the movies.
Yeah.
No, my favorite character was always Sirius and Bellatrix.
Sirius is my favorite character.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Anyway, that's besides the point. There was no Sirius in this book, which may have also been a strike against it.
Oh, actually, there's a sequel to this book. There's a follow-up.
Oh, of course there is. No, don't talk about that yet.
It's called Harriet Porber and the Theater of Love.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I haven't read it yet.
The Theodore
admittedly.
Tugboat of Love?
Wait.
Maybe.
Oh, my God.
Anyway, so she beats Bellatrix.
With an oar.
Bellatrix goes down at the ocean, gone forever.
She
Potentially back
drowns.
in the second book. Who knows? Yeah, she drowns because she's a sentient motorcycle, so she sinks.
Yeah. They can't swim.
No. And then
Since when?
motorcycles?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, have you
I
ever...
think always.
Oh.
Wasn't that a thing where we grew up where they would drive a fucking...
Yes. So off the end of the pier, they would put a car on
Yeah,
the
a
water or on the ice,
And they would
and
take
then they would take
bets.
bets on when it would sink in the summer or the spring.
Yeah, and those
but then
vehicles...
they had to stop doing it because it didn't freeze over anymore, and probably that's pollution too. But
They emptied all the fluids out, but admittedly, that's kind of fucking weird.
So when those vehicles were on the ice that melted, what would happen to those vehicles? They didn't swim to shore.
they weren't sentient motorbikes in a book about Harriet Porber either.
In fairness, they actually did tow them back in because it's the litter.
Yeah. Oh, that's one thing going for our hometown. They pulled the fucking cars that they drove out or pushed out onto the ice. They pulled them out when they were done with them. Just don't swim in the water.
And that's pretty much the summation of the book. Like that happy ending, etc. They end up together. She goes to the concert, and he like proposes to her on later, like down the road. He proposes to her.
I was
during
gonna say,
the
I don't
concert.
remember that part, but
It's in the epilogue.
I might not have read that.
Tough but fair.
No, I did. I read it all.
So that being said, gosh, what else could we talk about?
Oh, there's lots, I'm sure.
Oh, that reminds me, the Warlocks. The Warlocks, who aren't in this book. I hope they're in the next one, actually. They manifest their magical power through a pact with some omnipresent author named Chuck.
Amazing.
I love
Meta.
him. This book's funny.
I love how, like, very dryly she says, this book's funny.
It is. I don't know
Oh my God.
how else to say that. So on that notion, though, Jack, I'm going to get you to read something for me.
Yeah.
Oh, I've never been so pumped.
Yeah, you were. Penguins.
Penguins, but
Anyway, Jack, going to get you to read this.
All I
yep.
know is butt plugs
I'm going to
and
start
carrots.
the pink and end at the pink.
Butt plugs and carrots?
Shut up.
Just read.
Shut up!
Actually, don't spoil it.
Oh my goodness. Okay. I suddenly realized that our bodies are just barely touching one another now, the tension between us hanging heavy and thick in the air. I don't know, Snabe replies with a smirk. Is it? My breathing heavy, I suddenly find my body surging with lust, completely taken by the bad boy dinosaur's powerful presence. He may be endlessly frustrating, but now that's the last thing on my mind. What are you waiting for? I whisper. Suddenly, I'm kissing Snabe deeply, our lips meeting in an explosion of passion. Before I can even fully comprehend what's happening, my hands are roving across his dinosaur body, tracing the curves of his muscular chest that I've spent so long mapping with my eyes. His large, prehistoric frame is even more impressive under the palms of my hands, every single inch of the dinosaur toned to absolute perfection. "What am I doing?" I gasp. "Taking what you want," Snabe informs me. I have no idea if this is the truth. I'm not interested in joining the dinosaur's motorcycle harem. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but the cravings bubbling up within me would say otherwise. Of course, one moment of passion doesn't have to be anything other than just that, and all these things can be sorted out later. Right now, consequences are the last thing I want to think about. I push any logic out of my mind, instead focusing on the powerful cravings that continue to build within me. I'm completely overwhelmed with animalistic desire, wanting nothing more than to give myself over to Snabe completely. I quickly pull the dinosaur's shirt up over the top of his head, tossing it to the side and revealing his brawny torso in all of its glory. Moments later, my top is coming off too, revealing the cute maroon and gold sports bra underneath. I also carefully remove my glasses, setting them on a nearby stump. Pushing him backwards, I continue to make out with Snabe until his rear comes to rest against a massive tree trunk, spiraling up above us in a cascade of long, sweeping branches. I'm clawing at the dinosaur now, my fingers drifting lower and lower until eventually they reach his belt buckle and tear it open. I swiftly move on to Snape's zipper, dropping to my knees and yanking down his waistband. Suddenly, Snape's enormous member has erupted out into my face, a dark green strap-on with a thickness unlike anything I have ever seen. It's so enormous that it actually startles me, staring down this bardic python as it sways in the fresh forest air. Wow, before we go any further, "This is my cock," the dinosaur informs me. "Don't call it a strap-on. Don't even think of it as a strap-on. This is my dick. Understood?" "You've got a huge cock," I reply with a smile. I open wide and take Snape's dick between my lips, bobbing my head up and down across his length, while the dinosaur above me moans loudly, his voice echoing out across the woods. I'll be perfectly honest, it's been a while since I've done anything like this, but I pick things up again quickly. Snape is clearly enjoying himself, his head tilted back as a long, satisfied groan escapes his lips. With the large tree positioned firmly behind him, the dinosaur has nowhere to squirm to, nowhere to pull back and release the pleasure that is now bubbling up within. I can feel his gorgeous abs flexing and releasing above me, struggling to adjust to the cascade of sensations that are now being thrust upon him. Suddenly, Snape takes me by the shoulders and pushes me back a bit, then helps me to my feet. "You're too good to me," he coos. "Let me be good to you." "But you're a bad boy," I reply with a laugh. "You're telling me you can be good, too?" "For you, I can try," Snape affirms, his tone momentarily shifting towards the serious. The dinosaur takes me with his massive claws and carefully slips my hiking shorts down, along with my panties.
What?
I step out of them as Snape looks me over, smiling wide at the thought of whatever he has planned. Suddenly, Snape is using his enormous muscular arms to lift me up in the air, spinning me around so that now my back is pressed up against the tree. The only difference, of course, is that I'm 5.5 feet or so off the ground. "You can touch it," I explain, "and you can suck it, but call it what it is. Not a dick. That's my clit. My legs over both of Snape's scaly green shoulders. I now find him with his face buried deep in my crotch, the man's wet tongue softly lapping across my most sensitive areas. Oh my God, I gasp, my face flushed red from the incredible sensations that are pulsing through my body. Snape appears to know exactly what he's doing, alternating between long, slow sucks and a series of staccato flicks from the tip of his tongue. He somehow knows exactly how my body is going to react, pushing me forward and then pulling me back in a never-ending series of tension and release. I grab the back of his head and pull him even closer, desperately running my fingers through the dinosaur's long, dark hair. Up here in the air, I feel even more disconnected from responsibility or consequences, completely free to sexually express myself with the help of this beautiful lover. While the woman I used to be still haunts the forest floor below, I've graduated to the trees. My animalistic desires have brought me even closer to nature than ever before, the fresh influence I'd been so desperately looking for. Or maybe I'm just having a really good time. Sometimes, as a wizard, it's easy to get carried away with the metaphors I see in the world. A good fuck is beautiful and sexy and sensual, but it's also fun. Maybe it took a guy like Snape to help me fully realize that. By now, the first simmers of orgasm have already started to bubble up within me. I push into them, allowing these feelings to consume me as Snape keeps up the pace with the confident bob of his head. It's a lot to take, but I refuse to turn away, forcing myself to accept these powerful sensations head on. The beautiful orgasmic warmth starts at the pit of my stomach, then slowly begins to make its way out across my body, blossoming with tendrils of aching pleasure. I'm trembling wildly as it moves down my arms and legs, filling me up with a potent ache and causing my eyes to roll back into my head. I'm breathing heavy, my heart slamming hard in my chest as I edge closer and closer to the edge of climax. Oh my God, I groan, my voice cascading down the tree-covered hillside. Oh my God! Oh my God! The pressure continues to build until finally the dam breaks. I throw my head back and let out a howl of pleasure, my scream echoing out around us and causing a plume of nearby birds to erupt from their tree. In this moment, Snape and I are fully connected to one another. One single entity drawn together by forces much bigger than ourselves. Sure, our paths have twisted and turned to get here, but they make so much sense once they finally meet. When the sensation finally passes, Snape swallows my load, then begins to lower me down. We're not through with each other yet, though. Before my feet have a chance to touch the ground, my muscular lover allows me to wrap my legs around his waist, hovering with expert precision above his enormous rod. Can you go longer? The dinosaur questions. Sexualis secundus, I pronounce proudly, waving my wand in the air. The two of us watch as my clit begins to swell again. Incredible! Snape remarks with a grin. That's not my ass, though, I begin. I know, the dinosaur offers, cutting me off. You don't even need to say it. Now at the same height, our gazes lock together, eyes burning deep into one another's soul. We're so close that our foreheads are touching, the sweaty hair tangling as our heavy breathing starts to sink. Moments later, Snape lowers me down, impaling my body across his mammoth shaft. The first thing that strikes me is the incredible feeling of fullness. I've been with plenty of men before, but never had their member fit so perfectly within my pussy. If I was any less aroused, in fact, it might be too tight, but in this state of belligerent lust, the insertion is exactly what it should be. Snape immediately gets to work, grinding up into me, using his hips in a series of rhythmic swoops as I hold on tight. The sex is incredible, but even more incredible is the feeling of closeness that I get when our bare skin is pressed so tightly. As emotionally intimate as me and Snabe have grown, our physical connection has been completely barren up till now. Suddenly, I'm receiving it all at once, and the overwhelming sensation of Snape's touch is everything that I hoped it would be. Our heaving bodies start slow and then gradually begin to speed up, connecting in ways that I never could have imagined possible. The dinosaur has a beautiful confidence to his rhythm, a true bard even when his instrument is sexual gratification. It's not long before the orgasmic sensations begin to blossom up within me yet again, only this time the feeling has spread out across a second body. Snabe and me have merged into a single entity, the movements of our writhing frames perfectly in sync as that familiar, warm feeling continues to build within us. I can immediately tell that this moment is not just another random fuck for Snape. There is something else brewing here, something that can only be attained when two opposing but equally powerful forces collide. It's so good, I begin to stammer, the words falling limply from my mouth in a blissed out mantra, repeating over and over again as they escalate in volume. Soon enough, Snape is moaning as well, our cries blending in perfect harmony. The dinosaur doesn't let up for a second, slamming into me now as my fingers dig deep into his scaly back. Suddenly, the two of us throw our heads back in unison, letting out parallel screams of passion that go on and on for what seems like forever. When the feeling of orgasm finally passes, Snape sets me down once more. I begin to gather my clothes, pulling them on, while my eyes remain transfixed on Snape's perfect, tattoo-covered physique. I'm still having trouble believing this dinosaur is real. That was incredible, the muscular bard tells me as he finishes clothing himself. Just the workout I was looking for, I joke, still high from my recent orgasm. The two of us finish getting dressed and then pause, standing for a moment as we continue to come to terms with what just happened. Without saying a word, we come together again, only this time we do nothing more than hug. Aww.
Thanks for that, Jack. I appreciate that.
Whew, that was long.
You fanned yourself, girl? Was that a little hot?
No. Yeah, the dinosaur makes me really hot.
Parasaurolophus.
Parasaurolophus.
I wonder how the tattoos work on a dinosaur.
I don't know. I'm sure there's another book by Chuck Tingle that could explain it.
I'm sure there's lots of books by Chuck Tingle.
By that, on that note, Jack, I just wanted to touch base on a couple of other Chuck Tingle books.
Yeah, Jack, could you read us the Chuck Tingle books?
Yeah, so like I have just a brief list. Like I said, there's like 350 books or something he's written. An insane amount.
Yeah.
So could you just read like these few that I've shortlisted
Jesus Christ.
for me, please?
Oh, these are the names?
These are the
the
names of
names.
some of the books. Yeah.
Okay. These are quite long.
Yep.
Number 1. The physical manifestation of Wordle pounds my butt as a slightly frustrating but ultimately rewarding and meditative daily routine.
Yeah, I'd read that.
Okay.
I think I would read that. Would you read that?
No.
Wordle? Did you play Wordle when it was out?
No.
Oh, lame. Okay, Jack.
Oh, I love Wordle.
Thank you.
Oh, I didn't even know what you were talking about.
Number 2. Pride and prejudged ass.
Clever.
Clever.
Thank you.
Number 3. Not pounded by the handsome physical manifestation of my Twitter suspension because it was reversed. Wow.
Chuck Tingle's big on Twitter.
Okay.
That one's about Trump.
There's a couple of them about Trump.
Oh, are there actually?
Mm-hmm.
Number 4. This bisexual snowman's carrot wiener is in my butthole. Okay.
I like that one a lot. I'd read that.
Yeah, no doubt that you would.
I'd read all of these. Fair Stop reading ahead.
Sorry. Number 5. My lesbian twice-baked potato ski instructor eats my ass. Okay, I need to write that one down for me to
Yeah, we'll
read.
highlight that one. Yeah, for
Okay.
sure. Who doesn't love a twice baked potato?
A lesbian one at that.
Yeah.
I think you should read that together with your partner.
Are you talking to me?
Yes.
Yeah, totally.
Follow up on Clippy.
Number 6. Butt Trek. The Search for Chris Pine. Number 7. My macaroni and cheese is a lesbian. Also, she is my lawyer.
Oh.
8. Bisexually banged by the absurd volume of Chuck Tingle's literary catalog.
So meta.
9. That last missing piece for the jigsaw puzzle I've been working on all week is handsome, and he'll pound me in the butt once I find him. A trans buckaroo tale. Okay. 10. Bisexual vampire unicorns teach me the importance of the vampire cough. Feel like we could learn something from that one. 11. Our special tonight is a salt-crusted shepherd's pie deconstruction served over slow-roasted turnips with green olive aioli and a side of your butthole. Wow.
We just went on a journey.
Amazing. That sounds like a delicious dinner.
Oh, fuck.
12. This is a long one.
Yep.
Okay, here we go. 12. Pounded in the butt by my book. 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 Pounded in the butt by my own butt.
Yeah.
Okay.
Could you?
There's 6 of those books, by the way.
Could you please read that?
That book?
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. There's 6 of them in total, so I'll try to read all of them because I assume
Not
they're
for the
connected.
podcast.
Oh no,
my
I'll do
own.
it. Yeah.
Okay.
So
I'll
the
summarize
first
them.
one is called Pounded in the Butt by my own butt.
That's right. And then all of them are the books pounded in the butt by the books of that book.
Right, okay.
And then there's
What?
a number of them.
The ever-loving fuck.
I love it. It's wonderful. It's very clever.
Gravity was really boring and super, and like it was
Hold on.
just it was
She's
just
not
like
done.
super boring, and like I get that it was wholesome, but it was just boring, and I just like, I mean, it made me feel things, and I didn't like that it made me feel things. I really want to read Pound It in the Butt by my book. Pound It in the Butt by my book. Pound It in the Butt by my book. Bisexual snowman carrot butt. Fuck Jesus.
I think we broke Ashton.
Shepherd's pie, lesbian hamburgers. I don't know.
There was nothing about hamburgers, okay?
Oh, yeah, because that's the most ridiculous thing I said.
Not get crazy here. So what's this one? 13?
Unhinged.
13?
Yes.
Holy fuck.
Are you ready for this one?
I don't know. Yeah, go ahead.
Donald Trump, with an O, pounded in the butt by the handsome Russian T-Rex who also peed on his butt and then blackmailed him with the videos of his butt getting peed on.
These are like fucking books titled by a 10-year-old.
Yep. Well, thanks for that, Jack. I appreciate you reading those.
You're welcome. Are there more? I want more.
Man, I have a tab open. There's about 300 of them.
Let's
But,
let's get her drunk and then get her to read them to
Oh,
us.
we'll do. Yeah, let's
Oh.
read some more later. Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay.
So Ash, I'm gonna let you go first.
No.
We're gonna rate this out of 7 Tinglers. Tinglers are short books that he writes. There are 7 Harry Potter books, so we're gonna rate it as 7 Tinglers. How many Tinglers would you rate this? And you can't
Fuck
go,
you.
You can't go negative.
I
Has
wasn't
to
going
be-
to go negative. Look, as much as I bitch and complain about this book, I also appreciate that there were things that were done really well about it, and I understand what the author was trying to do. So, out of 7, I rated a 3. Which is
That's
probably
way more than I thought you were going to.
yeah,
That's
I know.
reasonable.
Shocking. But like
I'm shocked.
I appreciate the irony. I appreciate the call out,
Social commentary.
social commentary. I appreciate all that. I now understand that it's written from a troll's perspective, which you would think I would have more comfort with, but I don't, because
I mean, it's easy to get distracted by this book, so I'll give you
distracted. It's easy to get distracted by it. I can't say I was distracted. I think it was more like I feel like I've fallen down a fucking black hole and I'm never going to get out of it again, and nothing is ever going to make sense again.
Yeah, I mean, that's distracting.
Sure. Better than getting pounded in the butt by my book. So I'll give it 3.
Okay.
I'll give it a fair 3.
That's very reasonable. I appreciate that. Jack, how do you feel about this adventure we've just gone on?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, right?
Am I allowed to take any of these books into consideration when I rate this other book?
I mean, here's the thing. I feel like we're not going to talk about the Tingleverse again. This is probably going to be a one-off because I mean,
Ashton won't allow it to be any more
that's
than
fair.
that.
I tricked you once. Shame on me.
Is that a trick? Is that a trick? Is that
So potentially, I'll let you rate the Tingleverse as a whole.
Oh my goodness.
Based on these books.
Well, okay, based on I only get 7.
Yeah.
Is the highest I can possibly go.
It scares me that she wants to write more than 7.
Now they broke the last one into 2, so it could be.
Now,
7.
what are 7 what? Tingleverses?
Tinglers.
Tinglers, okay.
Not to be confused with ticklers, which go in your tongue ring.
Correct.
Okay, so, well, I mean, we obviously have to give it all 7 tinglers.
Nice.
Tinglers?
Tinglers.
And probably 63 to 67 ticklers. And then, I mean, if we're going to look through this, I definitely want to give it at least, a bisexual snowman's carrot wiener. Possibly in my butthole, but maybe not. We'll have to see. And definitely my lesbian's twice baked potato ski instructor.
How many pounds in the butt would you give it?
That's a whole different rating scale. Jeez.
I know.
Off the rails.
Ooh.
Yeah. Butts are involved.
I do also want to know about the bisexual vampire unicorns and the importance of the vampire cough.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I must... Yeah, all 6 pounded in the butt by my own butt books. And the pounded in my butts in the books.
The way she says it, it's so fucking, it's an obvious thing. It's very normal, yeah.
And this here one, where Donald Trump gets pounded in the butt by the handsome Russian T-Rex, who also peed on his butt and then blackmailed him with the videos of his butt getting peed on. 13 of those.
Yeah, fair. That's an honest assessment.
And definitely that last jigsaw puzzle piece, that's handsome because he's gonna pound me in the butt once I find him. So, yeah.
Well, thanks, Jack. That was very thorough, as usual. Which I expect nothing less of you now. I appreciate that.
I'm pretty sure there are people who listen just for Jacqueline's ratings.
Also, you know what? I would really like to get a Twitter account so I could become the physical manifestation of my suspended Twitter account and then pound someone else in the butt.
Oh, I mean, you just tweet Chuck Tingle on Twitter, and I'm sure they'd sort that out.
I'm pretty sure if you just got a strap on, you could pound your partner in the butt.
This is not a strap on. This is my dick.
I'm gonna give it a 7 as well, because this is obscene.
It's something.
And I feel like this. I have been talking about this book to other people for months, and I keep coming back to Chuck Tingle's book names as party conversations, and I've made new friends because of it, and so it's made me a better person. I think I'm not gonna lie. So
Chuck Tingle has made me a better person.
At least he's made me more interesting. So there's that. I'm giving it a 7, full on. Appreciate it. Thank you, Chuck Tingle, for writing these. Continue writing your horrendous books. I'm so excited to read them. Thank you.
Oh my God. I think we should just look at the titles and then create something based on the title. You either have to write
cookies?
A poem, or you can make cookies, or you do a drawing.
This is grade 8 English again, where it's
yeah, hey, it's written by a grade 8 English student.
We're gonna have to read a book and then do a board game about the book.
Junky fun.
So on that note, guys, thanks for joining me on this journey through the Tingleverse. I really appreciate you sitting through this with me and really embracing the Tingleverse. And,
Oh, there was no embracing.
I've embraced it.
Jacqueline has embraced it. I have.
Listen, one out of two ain't bad.
Listen, I
50%.
feel like I've had my ankles tied up, and you guys have drugged me along behind a fucking horse-drawn carriage. Through this.
That reminds me. Next time we were. Which reminds me that the next time we're back here, we're talking about my kryptonite, which is called Credence by Penelope Douglas.
Uncle Jake time.
This is the one about Uncle Jake.
Yes. Oh my God! You know what the Tingle verse is that what we call it? Tingle verse is missing. Penguins.
I thought you were gonna say
We
Uncle
don't
Jake.
know that it's missing penguins because it probably has somewhere that there are penguins.
I mean, I assume penguins are pounding someone in the butt somewhere.
Yeah.
They're probably using penguins to pound somebody in the butt.
Ooh, I bet you it's nuns.
Whoa, nuns.
Nuns are pounding people in the butt with penguins, or nuns are being pounded in the butt with penguins?
I don't know.
Both?
Could be both.
You could have a sequel.
You could write your own Tingleverse fan fiction.
That's what I'm saying. That's what we gotta do.
Amazing.
Oh.
So thanks for joining me, guys. We'll see you next time. And have a good one. Bye.
Bye, Tingle friends.
Thanks for listening to the Queens of Spice podcast. You'll find us on Instagram and Twitter at Queens of Spice. Or if you want to send us an email, you can reach us at queensofspice@gmail.com.